Tonight, it's the first semifinal between the two-time defending champion United States and Jamaica, with the winner advancing to the final on Sunday. The stage is set for the Concacaf Nations League Finals at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Tonight it's the first semifinal between the two-time defending champion United States and Jamaica, with the winner advancing to the final on Sunday. I'm Donnie Barnes. The weather conditions outside in Dallas today, well, very rainy, as you can see. But fortunately, we're playing inside in a domed stadium, and the playing conditions will be perfectly climate-controlled for tonight's first of two semifinals, as it will be for the second semifinal later tonight between Panama and Mexico. The United States got here by receiving a bye to the quarterfinals of this competition thanks to their Concacaf rankings at the start of this Nations League season back in October. They were one of 4 seeded teams to do so. They faced Trinidad and Tobago in the quarterfinal, and they had some adventures. Trinidad were holding them 0-0 80 minutes into the first leg in Austin before the U.S. scored 3 times in the final 10 minutes to give themselves a cushion heading into the second leg. And they would need it because in Port of Spain, they took the lead before Serginho Dest took an unnecessary red card. And Trinidad scored twice and threatened for more. Made the night much more difficult for the U.S. But they were able to see out the game and advance 4-2 on aggregate to qualify for this semifinal. Jamaica finished top of Group B with 3 wins and a draw, and they advanced to play Canada in the quarterfinal round. And that resulted in all kinds of drama as Canada won the first leg in Kingston. And then in the second leg, with Canada looking pretty secure to go through to these semifinals, they scored first, the Canadians did, to lead 3-1 on aggregate at halftime of that second leg. At that point, Jamaica's chances of reaching the final seemed very slim, but then the Reggae Boys staged an incredible second-half rally. They scored 3 times through Shamar Nicholson and Bobby Reed, and they stunned Canada to book their ticket both to Copa America this summer and to this semifinal here in Dallas. You see the United States getting off their bus about an hour ago. They have made this tournament their own since its inception several years ago. They're hoping to win their 3rd consecutive Nations League title and put themselves 1 win away. They would put themselves 1 win away from doing so with a victory tonight. They defeated Mexico, of course, in the first Nations League final in 2021, and they defeated Canada in the final last year after eliminating Mexico in the semifinals. For Jamaica, this is their first time in the semifinal of this tournament, and their stock in CONCACAF has been on the rise for a few years now. They began aggressively recruiting dual nationals, and they've brought in several Premier League stars who have given them a huge boost in firepower, but Jamaica will be without some of their most dynamic players tonight. Attacking winger Damari Gray is suspended for this semifinal after picking up a red card in that dramatic second leg against Canada, while Aston Villa star Leon Bailey was not selected due to disciplinary reasons. Ethan Pinnock, one of their starting center backs and arguably their best defender, is injured. Shamar Nicholson, who we mentioned sparked their comeback in Toronto with 2 goals in 4 minutes, he's suspended for this semifinal with yellow card accumulation as well. And Michail Antonio, who we thought a few days ago would lead the line for Jamaica, he of course stars for West Ham in the Premier League, well, he withdrew from the squad a couple days ago. So Jamaica, as you saw them exiting their team bus a little while ago, they are missing arguably their 3 most talented forwards, their attacking left midfielder, and their best defender. And that lack of depth has sometimes held Jamaica teams back in the past. So the question tonight is, has the depth of their talent pool grown enough over the past few years to still take on and beat the United States in a match like this? And we will begin to find all of that out momentarily. For the United States, Greg Berhalter has been able to select a strong 23-man squad, and they are favored to win this competition again. So the pressure and expectation is squarely on the United States tonight. But Jamaica has given them problems in the past. You may remember these sides have drawn in their last 2 meetings, including a 1-1 draw in the Gold Cup opener in 2023. And in that game, Jamaica held the lead for most of it, and they missed a penalty at one point that could have made it 2-0 before the U.S. equalized in the 88th minute. So while the U.S. has won many more than they've lost against Jamaica, most meetings over the last decade have been close. Most were decided by late goals. The odds in the U.S.'s favor, but far from a foregone conclusion tonight. And you'd expect Jamaica to put up a strong resistance at the very least. Here come the two sides out onto the pitch. And in just a moment, we will hear the national anthems. And then it will be time for the starting 11s and kickoff. The United States, Jamaica, in the first of two Nations League semifinals. It's next.
Please rise if you are able for the national anthem of Jamaica. Please remain standing if you are able for the national anthem of the United States of America.
The two sides almost ready for this semifinal here at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. And let's look at the starting 11s. First for the United States. And for Greg Berhalter, it's mostly the lineup we were expecting, with one notable exception. Malik Tillman comes into the midfield instead of Gio Reyna. There were questions on whether Reyna would start because of his lack of playing time at Nottingham Forest in recent months. Most felt that Greg Berhalter would still have him in the lineup, but that's not the case. He's gone with Tillman instead, who's having a stellar season with PSV. Just scored a game winner for them last weekend. They go with their usual 4-3-3, as has become familiar in the Greg Berhalter era. In just a moment, we will see our officials for tonight's match as the captains get ready to meet at that center stripe. There they are now, led by center referee Selvin Brown, who is from Honduras, Gerson Orellana, also from Honduras, Emmanuel Aguirre from Nicaragua, and the fourth official will be Keylor Herrera of Costa Rica. You see Captain Andre Blake, 33 years old for Jamaica, a veteran of these international games. Christian Pulisic wearing the captain's armband once again for the United States. There's the VAR room tonight, led by Ricardo Montero and assisted by Benjamin Whitty. Now we will see the lineups for Jamaica. And for Heimar Hallgrimsson, it has hardly been the ideal build-up to this game, with so many key players either suspended or injured or withdrawn from the squad. So he's had to shuffle quite a bit, and instead of his usual preferred 4-4-2, he's setting them up in a 3-4-3. You would think that Greg Lee and Dexter Lembikisa will drop back and basically form a back five when the United States are attacking. And they will need captain and veteran goalkeeper Andre Blake to have a big game. They'll hope the likes of Bobby Reed or maybe Jamal Lowe can steal a goal or two up top. Ronaldo Cephas gets the nod in that forward line as well. This will be just his second appearance for the national team. So with some of those more experienced and decorated Premier League stars not available for this semifinal, it is a younger group for Jamaica that takes the field today. You see the United States wearing their new blue and red kits. Those were just unveiled a couple days ago. There is Folarin Balogun, the Monaco striker, who has not had quite the domestic season he would like to have in France, but scored 3 goals in 8 matches so far for the United States. There you see Jamaica in their pre-match huddle. Certainly the underdogs tonight, especially given the circumstances. They firmly believe if they can keep things tight and keep this game 0-0 for as long as possible, they have every chance of springing an upset. There is Heimar Hallgrimsson, who famously is a dentist, but he led Iceland to that memorable quarter-final berth in the 2016 Euros and then led them to the World Cup for the first time a couple years later. And there, of course, Greg Berhalter, along with B.J. Callahan, his trusted assistant, who briefly took charge of the U.S. last summer for a few matches. Weston McKennie having a great season with Juventus. It will be Jamaica who will get things underway tonight as they will attack from right to left in this first half. Referee Selvin Brown blows the whistle, and we're in motion in Dallas in the Nations League semifinal. Will the U.S. keep their quest for a 3rd straight title alive, or will Jamaica beat the odds and reach their first final? Early throw for Jamaica, and they're attacking third. And this is where they can cause problems. Attacking throws and set pieces. That is where they've sometimes given the United States issues in past years. And Reed is by the end line and serves it in front, and it's an early goal. What an incredible start. The Reggae Boys are crashing the party. 30 seconds in, they may be under strength, they may be underdogs, they don't care. They lead the Nations League final 1-0. Absolutely electric. And Heimar Hallgrimsson couldn't have envisioned a better start. It was that quick throw by the end line and the late run by Greg Lee, and Matt Turner beaten, unable to get the hands up in time. Bobby Reed able to slice it across the face of goal, and Lee making that late run, ghosted right past Joe Scally. And it's an early sucker punch. And boy, does that change everything. Wow. Will everyone catch your breath? All that pre-match talk about how long can Jamaica keep this 0-0? Well, forget about that. It took them just over 30 seconds to open the scoring. And now they have something to hang on to, albeit it's a long, long time to hang on to just a single goal. Important for the United States to stay calm from their standpoint, but what a boost for this Jamaica side's confidence. Andre Blake, I'm sure will take as much time as possible, anytime he can, to try to slow things down and frustrate the United States. Free kick here for the U.S. as Yunus Musa was bundled over. And so for all the questions we were asking about how Jamaica were going to deal with all their absences before the start of this match, now the questions all shift to the United States. How do they handle that early blow? Really a stunning beginning to this game, and can they steady themselves and work themselves into this match now? Weston McKennie would figure to be central to that quest. He's been such a central figure for Juventus in Serie A this year. Possession for the U.S. You see Jamaica content to sit back, try to suffocate those passing lanes further up the pitch. The U.S. able to work something here. It's McKennie and Balogun deflected out. Corner for the U.S. That's a decent response by them. The United States were able to patiently work that and find some space between the lines. What can they work now from this ensuing corner, which Christian Pulisic will take? In from Pulisic, away by Deshaun Bernard. Thumped right back in by Anthony Robinson, and over Pulisic and out as he couldn't quite control it. Goal kick for Jamaica. Well, Greg Berhalter, plenty to think about with that beginning. Greg Lee in the very first minute of this Nations League semifinal. This goes the United States' way, still less than 5 minutes in. Panama and Mexico to come later tonight at this same venue. It'll be at 10:15 Eastern time. Jamaica trying to spring a counter. They didn't have many numbers forward. It was just Jamal Lowe. There he is, playing for Swansea City. This is just his 7th cap for Jamaica. It was Bobby Reed, who was one of the more veteran members of this match day 11, who provided the assist for that goal. And now Lowe in a wrestling match by that end line. That's won by Chris Richards. Goal kick, United States. Again, when they last met in the Gold Cup group stage last year, the group stage opener, in fact, it was also Jamaica scoring early. Not quite as early. It was the 12th minute instead of the first. It's nearly given away by the U.S. and is given away now. Tracking back to win it back, Malik Tillman. Now Tim Weah, unable to get past the attentions of Joel Latibeaudiere, but Latibeaudiere committed a foul apparently in the process. So yeah, last year in the Gold Cup group stage, Jamaica scored early and led for almost the entirety of that match. And had a great chance to go 2-0 up later in the first half when they won a penalty, which was subsequently saved by Matt Turner. Picks up that ball there. The U.S. were able to rally late. Brandon Vasquez goal in the 88th minute to salvage a draw from that game. Of course, Jamaica famously upset the U.S. in the semifinals of the Gold Cup back in 2015 before losing in the final of that competition. And then they upset Mexico in the Gold Cup semi in 2017 before losing to the U.S. in the final. So Jamaica has always been one of those squads that is capable of pulling off big upsets in semifinals, as Blake will make this his with ease. We talked about the growth of Jamaica over the last decade, recruiting so many dual nationals, especially from the English Premier League. Difficulty for them has been having to beat both the United States and Mexico, or Mexico and the United States back-to-back in these competitions, which is so difficult to do. They're certainly off to a dream beginning in their quest to knock off the U.S. in this semifinal. It's almost a line-splitting ball to play in Christian Pulisic. It'll be a throw for the U.S. instead. There is Bobby Reed, plays for Fulham in the English Premier League. Scored 6 goals in his 27, make it now 28 caps with Jamaica. And add an assist to that tally as well. Neat back heel. U.S. with the ball moving here. Malik Tillman. Chris Richards. Wide for Pulisic. Pulisic cutting in field. Faced by a wall of yellow shirts. Miles Robinson. Joe Scally. Shaky start to this game for him, and then it's given away by Yunus Musa. And a free kick for Jamaica, and that's well done by Ronaldo Cephas. We're seeing when Jamaica do break forward after turning the ball over like that, they don't have a lot of numbers forward. And so Cephas did well to win a free kick and a set piece. He did not have really anyone else to pass that ball to. Casey Palmer takes this free kick. Angled toward that far side. Whistle goes again. Free kick, United States. That time, Damian Lowe, plays for Philadelphia Union, was whistled. Jamaica have two lows on the pitch. Jamal up top, Damian in the midfield. The United States with a pair of Robinsons in their lineup. Here they come now. Trying to release Weah down the right. Ball was a little bit heavy, but he tracks it down. Tim Weah. Crosses back post. Nobody there in blue and red. And harmlessly out for a Jamaica throw. Well, that was promising momentarily for the U.S. Weah had to go wide to track it down, and then thought he was going to have a back post runner that never materialized. Greg Lee's goal in the first minute has Jamaica ahead 1-0 with 10 minutes gone in this semifinal. First game of a full weekend of great action in the Concacaf Nations League. Leak Tillman doing well. Pulisic neatly finds McKennie, and then Tillman. And then Balogun using his strength. Better from the United States. Now dragging it wide. And goal kick. Excellent defending. Deshaun Bernard had to get it right, and did. Again, the U.S. working it between the lines pretty well. It's an excellent decision by the center referee. Saw that perfectly. And after this game at 10:15 Eastern, Panama and Mexico in the second semifinal. The final will be played on Sunday, of course, between the winners of these two matches. But first on Saturday, we'll have the two Copa America play-in matches between the four sides that all lost in the quarterfinal stage of this competition. And that will be a day filled with drama. Really well done to win that back, and a free kick won by Jamaica. And the U.S. frustrated by that whistle. Will be the first card of the match as well. Joe Scally's had a difficult beginning to this game, and he goes into the book in the 12th minute. Yeah, he got the elbow into Ronaldo Cephas. At full speed, it didn't look like a lot of contact, but when you see the replay, you can see why the whistle was blown and the card was shown. It was again Ronaldo Cephas doing really well by himself to earn an attacking set piece, which once again is where Jamaica figured to be really dangerous in this game. And their goal came from an attacking throw, remember, that the U.S. did not deal with at all. What can they produce from their first true set piece now? Matt Turner needs to line up his troops effectively. Swung in by Reed, right to the penalty spot. Good header away. Lobbed back in Reed's direction, but intercepted. Jamaica will have a throw. Greg Berhalter, still very early in this match, of course. Has to be concerned with the way his team started. Greg Lee, the goal scorer, who did so well to ghost in at that back post, unmarked, to head home just over 30 seconds in. Now we'll launch this long throw again toward that end line. And whistle goes, free kick, United States. Damian Lowe didn't feel he committed a foul. But again, Jamaica, that's the same play they ran from the other side of the pitch that led to their goal. That long throw from the attacking third toward the end line, trying to create either a cutback or a square across the face of goal from that angle. And if Lowe hadn't been whistled for a foul on that, it looked like the United States might have been in trouble again. Dexter Limbikisa takes this one. This suits Jamaica just fine. Heimer Hallgrimsson in a discussion with fourth official Kayla Herrera. Chested down by Damian Lowe and then hacked away. It's going to be another free kick, this time for the U.S. Lots of whistles in these opening 15 minutes. And also a goal belonging to Jamaica and Greg Lee. On Saturday, those two Copa America play-in matches beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern time with Canada and Trinidad and Tobago. And then at 7:15 Eastern on Saturday, Costa Rica and Honduras. The Clásico Centroamericano, that's a huge Central American rivalry, and it's rarely meant more than this one will. Here come the U.S. now down this right side, but that will not stay in play for Malik Tillman. A glimpse at the pace and speed that the U.S. has in this lineup. Jamaica trying to minimize how much they're able to utilize that, of course. Greg Berhalter spoke this week about the mental toughness this Jamaica side has. He said it's a resilient team. Talked about how they had to go away to Canada trailing in that tie and still came out with the victory. As Jamaica intercept here. Forward by Damian Lowe, but Matt Turner will have an easy gather. Greg Berhalter said it's a very strong mentality they have. You can tell the coach has been through major tournaments before. He's very experienced. Well, that belief, that mental toughness and fortitude, all showing themselves early in this game. A game that few have given Jamaica a chance in. They are leading nonetheless. Here come the U.S. though. There's room for Scally overlapping on the right. Can he pick somebody out toward the penalty spot? It's looped over the bar by Balogun. Best chance of the match so far for the United States. Claiming a deflection in a corner. Let's see what we can see on the replay. Boy, did Scally have a lot of time and space to serve that in. Yeah, it did come off the Jamaica defender last, didn't it? It's a good ball in from Scally. Deflected off to Sean Bernard. So it is the second corner of the match for the U.S. Pulisic delivers. Overshoots everyone. McKennie, the ball hanging up on this freshly laid surface, able to keep it in play. Weah. Musa. Weah. Jamaica defending in banks of 3s and 4s and 5s. This is what we expected from Jamaica. We thought we would see a low block from them. Musa trying to pick that apart. Scally. Chris Richards, Anthony Robinson. Musa again. Balogun, neat touch. Chested down by Scally. Balogun on the end again. Malik Tillman, low cross. Spun off a Jamaica defender, but cleaned up by Ronaldo Cephas and had one outlet to aim for. That was Jamal Lowe, and dealt with by Chris Richards. It's past Pulisic, who looks a little frustrated. This is generally the pattern that we expect for most of this game. The United States with most of the possession, Jamaica defending deep, looking to spring on the counter occasionally. And you saw Selvin Brown already warning Jamaica about time wasting, pointing to his watch. Miles Robinson. Scally had to retreat for it. Matt Turner. Jamaica just waiting for the U.S. to try to pass between them and picking them off. And the angled ball for Cephas, who keeps it in. Cephas up against Miles Robinson. And Cephas dribbles right past him. Cephas into the area. Still Cephas. And Cephas right at Matt Turner. Well, it just wouldn't sit down for him when he wanted to shoot it initially. And then the chance seemed to be gone. Did well to get a shot away in the end, but unable to guide it toward either corner. Good opportunity for Jamaica to double their lead, and more shakiness for the United States. Boy, has Cephas done well over these opening 20 minutes, and here able to burst his way in. Saw that touch was just a little too heavy the first time. Still got himself in a decent shooting position at the top of that box. Matt Turner, who also hasn't played as much as he'd like at Nottingham Forest this year, doesn't have a ton of real competition for that #1 shirt with the U.S. right now. That's a bad turnover by Jamaica, though. And Balogun is running at the defense. It's Balogun, it's Pulisic, and Pulisic blocked. Took too long to release. And it'll be out for a corner. What a chance for the U.S. to equalize. They were 3-on-1 momentarily, and they could not capitalize. What a job by Joel Ladaboudère. The last man back did enough. Pulisic's got to hit that first time, doesn't he? Just not sharp at all from the U.S. You can see he's still frustrated as he lines up this corner. His delivery in and headed over by Malik Tillman. The U.S. will have chances in this game. They've had them already. This was their biggest so far. Look how much space Pulisic has initially, but it closed quickly. Ladaboudère tracking from behind. It was Michael Hector, the initial one-man back, who did well just to hold his ground. Ooh. Well, you see that replay. The U.S. never shouted for handball. I don't think anybody saw that ball hit Ladaboudère's hand. It would have been interesting if that had gone to VAR, what they would have decided there. But we play on, and Jamaica bursting down the right with Reed again. And it's out for a Jamaica corner. Again, Bobby Reed, when he's able to get forward down that right flank, posing danger by the end line. Midway through this first half, and it has not gone the way nearly anyone predicted so far. That's the beauty of this sport and this competition. Outswinging ball coming up. Played toward the near post. Good header by Tillman. Down by Lembikisa. Simple for Turner. Tries to play it quickly into the path of Pulisic. It's read well by Lembikisa. U.S. looking to create an overload down that left side. Pulisic. Again, faced by a wall of gold and green. Weah commits the foul. See the frustrated body language by the U.S. Jamaica doing a stellar job over the first quarter of this match. Got themselves in front early. They have made themselves every bit as frustrating to play against as we suspected they would. Greg Berhalter had to know, especially if they conceded an early goal like that, how difficult this would be. Tillman, heavy touch, tracked down by Damian Lowe. We play on. So many sloppy moments by the U.S. in this first half. That's a neat touch by Musa, though. Balogun, McKennie commits the foul. So many subtle moments, slightly off, slightly out of sync, heavy touches, poor passes, poor decisions by the U.S. in these opening 25. Offside flag raised against Jamaica. Year by year, we see Concacaf get deeper. It's not just the United States and Mexico anymore. Those days are long gone. Panama playing Mexico later tonight. They have gotten so much better over the last 5 years. They go into that game full of belief that they can upset Mexico. Jamaica giving the U.S. quite a time in these opening 25. Here's Pulisic trying to backheel it for Balogun. Jamaica calmly playing their way out. They give it away to Weston McKennie. McKennie has numbers here. Tim Weah lines up the strike and puts it wide. Hit it well, but just outside the post. Can't fault him for shooting, had plenty of space. Dragged his shot. He'll be disappointed. Given that amount of time, would have expected to hit the target from there. Chris Richards did well to win that header. Musa shielding it off, and the foul is called. U.S. want to get on with it right away. Greg Lee's first-minute goal, separating Jamaica and the United States currently. Jamaica doing well when they can press up high a little bit, pushing bodies forward. Free kick to the U.S. here. Jamaica not just exclusively sitting deep in that low block, they're pushing that front line forward when they can. Anthony Robinson overlapping, easily cut out by Deshaun Bernard. The book on Jamaica with the way they play under Jaime Hall-Grimson is that sometimes they'll leave space on the flanks. The way they try to compress the passing lanes, they'll sometimes compress centrally. Sometimes that means you can get at them down the wings, but the U.S. has not been able to do a lot of that in these opening 28 minutes. Balogun, Musa, Weah. Weah still. Scally was in an offside position. McKennie. Musa. McKennie again. Scally. U.S. reluctant to put the ball in the box. Now McKennie does. Flipping it backside. Pulisic was peeling away looking for it. Anthony Robinson. Weah drifting all across that front line. Weah again. Pulisic. Back post run by McKennie. Well read. Well handled by Greg Lee. Scored the goal in the first minute. Might have just saved a goal there. U.S. win right back though. Here comes Musa again. Space to advance. That space closed though. He held on to it too long. Damian Lowe unable to pick out Ronaldo Cephas though. Comes right back at Jamaica with Weah. Slipping it through. Balogun. Forced to cut back and pull back for McKennie. Anthony Robinson, Christian Pulisic. Tackled strongly and fairly, says the referee. Jamaica play their way out really well. Balogun tracking back, does very well indeed. Half an hour gone. Fascinating Nations League semifinal between the United States and Jamaica. Pulisic. Miles Robinson. Joe Scally on a yellow card. Weah. McKennie. Nice chip for Scally. Thumps that cross. It's all the way through. Touchdown for Tillman. Tillman able to turn. Still Malik Tillman. Balogun. Musa. And Musa strikes. Blocked down. Chested down. And cleared. Jamal Lowe can carry it the other direction. Now the whistle stops play. The United States player down behind the play. That is Malik Tillman. Like he whacked his head against Michael Hector's shoulder or back as he challenged for that. Turns into a de facto water break. Jamaica able to talk things over with Heimer Hallgrimsson. Famously was able to mastermind Iceland to an epic upset of England at Euro 2016 in the round of 16. This one would be also quite unexpected. Over the top it goes. Again, that Jamaica backline doing very well. They've read everything they've needed to so far. That was Michael Hector at the heart of that back three. Scally. Miles Robinson. Chris Richards. Tim Weah. See how much he'll roam from right to left and drop back. I suspect if they're going to pull this Jamaican block apart, he's going to be a key part of that. Richards, Pulisic trying to turn in congested space and wins a free kick. Here the American Outlaws, the U.S. supporters group, really making themselves heard for the first time in this game. Here's McKennie. Weah. So many gold shirts in the way of everything the U.S. want to do. That bouncing ball, Jamaica might have something here. Bobby Reed keeping possession brilliantly. And Reed looking to play the overlap down the line, but running out of room. Now Bobby Reed, another moment of class there, shielding the ball off from a couple U.S. players. Almost setting up a teammate. See the possession, 74% in favor of the U.S. That's not overly surprising. Jamaica don't mind that stat either, especially since they have the one that matters. First minute tally by Greg Lee. It's heavy from Balogun, nearly won it back, but then lost it again. McKenny. Tillman hustled off it. And from the middle of the park, ambitious, trying to catch Turner off his line. Bobby Reed already has an assist today, aiming for the spectacular there. Ten minutes to go until halftime. Give or take a couple minutes of stoppage time. Can the U.S. hold themselves level before then? Not like that, they can. Musa takes that down, but his touch was pretty heavy as well. Able to hop past Damian Lowe, however, and continue on. Anthony Robinson. That was easily cut out, as it was intended for Balogun. Hear the groans of frustration from the American fans every time that happens. They did not come here expecting to be this frustrated for the first 35+ minutes. Scally. Weah. Scally again. Not quite static from the Americans so far. Richards. U.S. forced to pull back and reset. McKenny. Switch of play toward Anthony Robinson. Robinson up against Dexter Lembikisa. Now Scally. Weah. Weah looking to attack. And Weah still double teamed and taken off the ball eventually. That's something the U.S. haven't done enough of in this first half. They try to take on those Jamaican defenders down the flanks one-on-one. You saw Jamaica there able to send numbers as soon as Weah was isolated for a moment. Long ball over the top, intended for Pulisic. It'll skip away from him and out for a goal kick. Heimer Hallgrimsson has been really bullish on Jamaica's chances, not just in this tournament, despite all their absences. As you see the goal scorer, Greg Lee. We'll look at the goal again. The initial throw toward the end line that the U.S. couldn't cut out, and Bobby Reed able to cut it across. It was that late run by Greg Lee that Joe Scally just didn't spot until it was too late, and Matt Turner unable to hustle across in time. That's why the United States continue to trail by 1-0, getting later in this first half. Tempers starting to rise just a bit. And Selvin Brown will pull Malik Tillman and apparently Jamal Lowe over to try to diffuse things. But Heimer Hallgrimsson has been talking for the last couple years about the things that Jamaica can achieve as a national program. As you see the American Outlaws trying to rally their team. Grimson thrilled that they'll be competing at Copa America this summer. Talked about what a great experience that will be for this program. against top-level opposition. He has said not only can we get to a World Cup, but we can do good things at a World Cup. They have targeted 2026, which of course will be in the United States and Canada and Mexico. It's one that they must qualify for, and they expect to do more than just qualify for. Here's Scally. McKennie. Weah. Scally. Thumped out for an American throw. Michael Hector's been just about flawless in this first half. Miles Robinson. He's a center back, remember. That's how high up the pitch he's able to be, with Jamaica dropping back now. Jamaica don't mind that as long as the score stays the way it is. Chris Richards. Musa. What changes might Greg Berhalter be contemplating as we head toward halftime? If it stays 1-0 into the break, that's given away to Tillman. Musa takes over. But now the whistle goes, and a free kick for Jamaica. Frustrating the United States again with 40 minutes on the clock here in Dallas. Well, if and when Greg Berhalter decides to change things up and go to his bench, he has plenty of attacking options available. Ricardo Pepi, a striker, plays at PSV. Haji Wright, who just scored a brilliant winner in the FA Cup for Coventry City last weekend. It's flicked into the area. It had to be read and cut out by Miles Robinson. Otherwise, Jamal Lowe is in, as Damian Lowe almost played him in. Greg Lee motoring down that left side in this first half. Toward that end line. Again, causing the U.S. issues. Shouts for handball from Jamaica. That will be looked at by VAR. Miles Robinson saying there's nothing in that. See Damian Lowe motioning to his hand. Selvin Brown telling everyone to calm down and wait a moment. Let's see. Well, from that angle, it looks like it just came off the chest of Miles Robinson, unless there was an earlier one. No, on we go. VAR room seeing the same thing, apparently. Another attacking throw for Greg Lee. Is he going to try to angle this toward the end line again? They've done it 3 times in this first half, and it's where the goal came from. Yep, same thing. US able to deal with it this time. Can they break now? No. But it will be a free kick for them. Selvin Brown very calm with his whistles. Very cool. It's a good switch to the left. The United States is going to have to find a way to introduce some more mobility to their attack. Have to make these Jamaican defenders move and track a bit more than they've had to in this first half. Full credit to Jamaica because they've been excellent in these opening 43 minutes. They've executed their game plan ideally. That's scooped over the top though. Pulisic. Weah. Scally. Crosses with the left. It's a good ball in. McKennie was lurking. It was flicked away from him though. Musa looks to settle and does. 2 minutes plus stoppage until halftime. The United States would desperately love to get level before then. If they can do so, the whole feel of the match changes going into half. If they don't, it'll be another huge boost for Jamaica. Their quest to spring a huge upset in this Nations League semifinal. Given away by McKennie. This is 2-on-2 for Jamaica. This is Ronaldo Cephas carrying wide and took a heavy touch and ran himself out of room. That's a couple times Cephas has had opportunities in this first half, and his touches let him down. Weah. Scally. And Weah making the underlap. Didn't use him. See how everything's static for the U.S. Not quite able to solve this Jamaican low block once they get to this part of the pitch. Pulisic. Took a little shove in the back as he released that. Scally, McKennie, that's neat for Weah. Weah attacks the end line, cuts it back. What a chance, and it spins wide and it's cleared. It was Tillman arriving late and he didn't make a clean connection with it. Should have scored. It stays 1-0. It was the best moment from the U.S. so far. They worked it really well. So they do it again. Weah looking to stand up the cross. Blocked by Lee, corner. Into 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half. The U.S. take the corner quickly and short, and Pulisic. Pulisic stands it up, and the header was won, but guided wide. Goal kick. Malik Tillman has been involved in this first half. He's been more than decent. This was the moment ago that he will feel he should have done much, much better. Arriving with his left foot. Scuffed it. Blocked by Deshaun Bernard, and if he hadn't blocked it, Andre Blake might have been able to get across and save it. Jamaica still might have something else before the end of this half. That's Bobby Reed again, eluding U.S. defenders. Trying to win a corner. Pulisic after this. Just touched away from him before he could spring the other direction. 40 seconds remaining in this first half. U.S. create something else in the final 10 seconds of this half. Pulisic. Just to spin back inside. Anthony Robinson. Neat ball. Pulisic. Still Pulisic. And it bobbled off him. Again, just enough Jamaican defenders in the way. Blake able to fall on top of it. That should do it for the first half. There is the halftime whistle. Christian Pulisic was nearly in, but just getting his foot in the way. Deshaun Bernard again. He's had several of those in the first half. And so 45 minutes are in the books at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. And the first minute goal from Greg Lee is still the difference. Jamaica defending outstandingly well and still dangerous on the counter when they've had opportunities. Lots for both teams to ponder at the half, with 45 gone and at least 45 to go in this Nations League semifinal, the first of two tonight from Dallas. It is Jamaica 1, the United States 0. In just a moment, we will see highlights and stats from these opening 45 minutes. So the U.S. fans applauding their team off the pitch down by that corner. They still believe their side has a comeback in them in the second half, but some concerned faces there amongst the American supporters. Plenty to discuss for Greg Berhalter and his staff, I'm sure. For Heimer Hallgrimsson in Jamaica, how do they try to solidify and consolidate what they've worked so hard to build in that first half? Well, let's see our halftime statistics. 9 shots for the U.S., 5 of them on target officially. Said Andre Blake was going to have a big game. Not sure he's had to make any spectacular saves, but he's been very solid, as you'd expect from the veteran. 4 corners to 1 for the U.S., who had 75% possession in the first half. But again, that's not overly surprising. Here we go, second half from Dallas. The United States trailing Jamaica 1-0. You saw the halftime change for the U.S. Gio Reyna is on. Joe Scally is off. That is, to say the least, an attacking change for Greg Berhalter. Gio Reyna, very much an attacking midfielder. Joe Scally, the starting right back, who was beaten for the first-minute goal by Greg Lee. Had some decent moments in the attack in the first half, but he's hooked at halftime. So we'll see if the U.S. nominally goes to a back three for now. You might see Yunus Musa dropping back to do more defending from that number 6 position where he started the match. But one way or the other, the United States recognizing they're going to have to go on the attack more in this second half. And might that open up opportunities for Jamaica on the counterattack? If this stays 1-0, it might open an opportunity for them here. The flag has stayed down, but now it comes up. So opening minute of the second half, if you're just joining us, Jamaica scored in the opening minute of the first half, just over 30 seconds in, through Greg Lee, assisted by Bobby Reed. It came from an attacking throw that the U.S. didn't cut out by the end line. And Jamaica able to sucker punch the U.S. right away, almost straight from kickoff. And they hung on for the rest of the first half. Had some decent chances to maybe score a second. Question for the United States is, can they create some more dynamism in the attack in this second half? Way too static in the first 45. Jamaica able to sit back in that low block when they needed to, pick off those crosses and through balls and cut them out for the most part fairly easily. Weah letting that run for Reyna, his first involvement, and he skies his cross. And that runs out of play on the other side. Well, that's the kind of thing the U.S. want in this second half. Get Gio Reyna on the ball, let him create. His first hit, not what he was hoping for. I'm Donnie Barnes, glad to have you with us on this international feed of this Concacaf Nations League first semifinal. The second still to come later tonight between Panama and Mexico. That'll be a fantastic atmosphere here at AT&T Stadium. Which of these two sides will advance to play the winner of that one? All that to be decided in the second half, and perhaps beyond. We would have extra time and penalties if necessary. Anthony Robinson. Yunus Musa. Weah. This was how it was for much of the first half for the U.S. Plenty of possession, but not much of it in a threatening position. Trying to solve this defensive Rubik's Cube that Jamaica have thrown at them. Here's Pulisic in a little pocket of space. McKennie. Jamaica happy to sit off and dare the United States to pick them apart here. Making it very difficult. Their spacing has been very good. Robinson tries to burst to the end line. Reyna, great ball. Trying to play in Malik Tillman, it just wouldn't run for him. That was better though from the U.S. That's the kind of intelligence that Gio Reyna can offer in the attack. Hasn't done that much for Nottingham Forest since going there on loan after the new year. Wasn't playing a lot at Borussia Dortmund this season either, but still very capable of producing big moments. We saw Christian Pulisic do that for the U.S. for quite a while when he wasn't playing much at Chelsea. He would come to the United States and seem rejuvenated. Play really well for them, even as he wasn't playing much for his club side. Greg Berhalter chose to sit Gio Reyna for the first half today. It's called on him for the second half with his side trailing. This play blown down with the flag up again. 5 minutes into the second half, Jamaica maintaining that lead that they've held since the opening 30 seconds. Well, Greg Berhalter has had his say and has had his first move at halftime. Still 4 substitutions and 2 windows in which to make them remaining at his disposal in this second half. The U.S. with space to burst forward here. And it's Tillman trying to run across the front of Dexter Lembakisa, who tripped him up and will go into the book. First card of the night for Jamaica. Lembakisa, who plays for Heart of Midlothian in the Scottish Premier League.
Ladies and gentlemen,
like all his teammates, defended extremely well in the first half. To do a lot more of that in the second half. Balogun has been quiet so far. McKennie. Miles Robinson and Chris Richards. There's a fine line between patience and complacency in the attack, and that's the line the U.S. is going to have to walk in this second half as long as they trail this game. Or even if they get level at 1-1. I don't think that would change a whole lot in the approach for Jamaica. Jamaicans will still mostly sit back and try to frustrate them. Hang in as long as they can. They've done more than hang in so far. I don't think they would really mind, Jamaica, if this game went all the way to penalties. Right now, they're thinking more than that. They do have Andre Blake in goal, who's an outstanding shot stopper. Matt Turner has made some big penalty saves for the U.S. in the past as well. Of course, the United States would have to score for even the thought of penalties to come into the conversation. Jamaica still might score another themselves. Greg Lee, the only goal scorer so far today. Heavy collision there, and now the whistle goes. Casey Palmer involved for Jamaica, and he goes into the book as well. He clattered into Tim Weah. So Lembakisa and Palmer both booked for Jamaica in the space of a couple minutes. I don't think he can have too many complaints. Slammed right through Weah after the ball had gone.
your attention please. A yellow card has been issued by number 14 of Jamaica, Casey Palmer, in the 53rd minute.
The United States have had one dangerous moment so far since the break. Miscommunication there, more frustration for them. There's been frustrated groans from the American fans ever since that opening minute. But from their perspective, still 36 minutes plus stoppage time remain to change the narrative tonight. Jamaica, another 36 minutes plus. Try to hang on. Maybe grab one on the counter. Nice cushioned header from Reina to set the U.S. away here. And this is Weah. Again, the first touch wasn't what he wanted, but he persists with it, Weah, and bursts wide all the way to the end line. Forced to cut it back to McKennie. Reina. McKennie. Scooped into the middle. Again, Jamaica solidly defending their 6-yard box. Everybody lost that ball in the air for a moment. Touched forward by McKennie. And McKennie fouls Damian Lowe. Jamaica continued to do a textbook job of of getting their bodies in the way, positioning themselves well on loose balls, forcing the United States to foul them and therefore slow down the game, prevent the U.S. from building momentum. It's exactly the kind of thing that Jamaica would have needed to do before the game, especially as shorthanded as they are. We talked about it in the beginning, how many of their high-level attacking talents are missing, as well as one of their best central defenders. Here they come with a ball into the middle that was defended well by McKennie, who had to come all the way back. How can the U.S. counter? It's Musa with space. And Weah. It's Balogun in the middle, with Pulisic beyond him. Christian Pulisic's hardly touched the ball in the second half. And again, things slow to a crawl for the U.S. outside that 18-yard box. Reyna. Anthony Robinson. Reyna gets himself turned. Tillman lays it off. Pulisic looks to turn. It's Pulisic. Christian Pulisic drags it wide. Pounds the turf afterward. It stayed in play, and it continues with McKennie. Everybody stopped for a moment. Here's Weah. McKennie's gotten himself back onside. Tillman started to make a run. McKennie didn't use him. Now Balogun lays it off. Reyna onto his left. It's Reyna straight at Blake. Better from the U.S., but Jamaica continue to withstand. Andre Blake, as usual, right where he needs to be. Balogun did well there. Tillman kept it moving. That was decent from the United States. Come right back at Jamaica here. Pulisic, much more involved now. Pulisic cutting inside. Reyna takes over. Robinson. His cross blocked right away. Jamaica claiming the throw. It belongs to the U.S. We're starting to up the tempo finally. This is where Jamaica will be eager to try to earn a foul and a free kick somewhere and try to slow this game down again. Get the tempo back in their favor. Anthony Robinson. Christian Pulisic. Low cross, and it almost fell to Balogun. Just wouldn't sit down for him. Touched along by Reyna. Is Pulisic onside? Flag has stayed down. Pulisic continues to probe around the perimeter of that 18-yard box. Reyna scoops it across, and it comes all the way through to Weah, and Weah deflected out. Corner for the United States. And the pressure starting to mount a bit on Jamaica. Seeing the U.S. use more width, more movement now with both Reyna and Pulisic involved. Pulisic will be involved in this corner again as he readies an outswinger. McKennie got his head to it. Reyna tracks it down. Right in front of Greg Berhalter. Balogun trying to turn. Again, it ran away from him. We're seeing a lot of players struggle with their first touch in this game. Approaching the hour mark in Dallas. The United States still chasing that first-minute goal that was scored by Greg Lee for Jamaica. McKennie. Darts between one line and a second. Balogun lays it back. McKennie strikes it over. Good positive play from Weston McKennie. Balogun laid it off to him neatly. It just won't go for the U.S. just yet. So now we're on the clock, and the U.S. readying a triple change. And they're going to bring Tyler Adams into the game. It'll be his first national team appearance in almost 2 years. Ricardo Pepi is also coming on, and so is Haji Wright. Going to be coming on for Tim Weah, Yunus Musa, and Fuller and Balogun. Hasn't happened yet. Will you assume at the next stoppage? Well, there were some eyebrows raised when Greg Berhalter called Tyler Adams into this camp. Adams has barely played this year for Bournemouth. He's been coming off a long-term knee injury. Again, his last appearance for the United States was at the World Cup in 2022. He's a central figure in this team, one of its biggest leaders. Here's Musa. Got it stuck under his feet and lost it. Tries to win it back, and eventually does. United States still waiting to make that triple change. McKennie. Scoop toward Balogun. At the edge of the box. Up into the air from Bobby Reed. U.S. has Jamaica pinned in here. Weah is about to be subbed off. Can he make something before that substitution? Tillman. Now a foot race on, and this could be trouble for the United States. And away is Ronaldo Cephas, and Cephas put it straight at Matt Turner with a wonderful opportunity to double Jamaica's lead. And might that be something they regret by the end of the night? And Reyna comes the other way for the United States. Trying to return it to him was Anthony Robinson. Shouts for a foul not given, and now that triple change will come for the U.S. Jamaica also getting ready to make a change of their own. So Weah and Balogun come off. Yunus Musa also off. Adams, Pepi, and Wright come on. Daniel Johnson has come on for Jamaica. Here's Reyna. What can the U.S. do with this new look 11 on the pitch? Not much there. Jamaica spring away on the counter. Damian Lowe down this right side. Trying to push it past Chris Richards and then fouls him. Went for a ride as well. We told Jamaica haven't quite made that change yet. Daniel Johnson is going to replace Ronaldo Cephas. That has not happened just yet. 26 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. Still Jamaica lead, thanks to that first-minute goal by Greg Lee. Now, here's the first touch, scuffed wide by Haji Wright. Well, he was found well by Reyna, and Ricardo Pepi was screaming for the square ball toward the penalty spot. Now here comes that change for Jamaica. Daniel Johnson, who plays for Stoke City in England. And instead of Ronaldo Cephas, Jamaica apparently changed their minds. Initially it was going to be Cephas coming off. Now they take off Jamal Lowe. Maybe, just maybe, Ronaldo Cephas winning that foot race and getting himself away on that break a moment ago convinced Heimer Hall-Grimson to keep him on for now. In any case, here's Johnson. Ricardo Pepi, who plays for PSV and has had an excellent season. Haji Wright, we talked about him in the first half. Scored a goal deep into stoppage time to help Coventry City make it to the FA Cup semi-final. First time in a generation. He's having a great season with them in the English Championship. Reina, who came on at halftime, squares. And in comes Haji Wright. He takes a tumble. Referee not interested. Play on. The U.S. having to defend at the other end. Jamaica starting to look a little bit more dangerous on the break now as the United States push more bodies forward. And Tillman loses it, and Jamaica maybe a chance here, and they slip Reed through, and he squares, and what a miss! And the flag came up. It wouldn't have counted anyhow, but Casey Palmer, can't believe he skied that over the bar. He's fortunate that the flag was up. Otherwise, that would have given him nightmares. Oof. Well, it wouldn't have counted anyhow. That will make Jamaica feel better. Here come the U.S. Angled for Wright. He chases it down by the corner. Pulls it back for Robinson. Reina. Scooped ball. Easy for Blake in the end. Trying to pick out Pulisic, who's come more central now. Nearly midway through the second half, nearly 3/4 of the way through the 90 minutes. Greg Lee's first minute goal, still the difference. The United States still trying to unlock this Jamaican defense. Tyler Adams. It's a nice switch out to the left. Anthony Robinson quickly for Wright. Trying to get it to sit down on this turf. Adams again. Again, he's hardly played in the last 2 years. He's looking sharp though, spraying balls all over the pitch. Pulisic. Still Pulisic. Reina, and Pulisic was clattered. The U.S. wanted advantage to be played. Instead, Selvin Brown pulls it back for the free kick and will produce a card. Yeah, that was Damian Lowe, I believe. So it is Lowe, who is booked along with Casey Palmer and Dexter Lembakisa. So 3 of Jamaica's 4 midfielders are all on yellow cards. Jamaica, if they could get through to the final, would get a couple players back for the final who are suspended for this one due to either yellow card accumulation or a red card in the quarterfinal against Canada. Still plenty of things to do for Jamaica before they could think about that. First is to defend this free kick, which is being stood over by Malik Tillman and Christian Pulisic. Selvin Brown instructing everyone to keep their arms down. Dre Blake, 70 caps for his national team, hugely experienced. They will lean on him down the stretch here. Tillman and Pulisic. It's Malik Tillman, and it was never close. That's how it's gone for the United States over these first 70 minutes. See his reaction. He's very capable from that distance. Got it all wrong. So often when Jamaica and the United States have met in past years, it's been Jamaica's lack of cutting edge in the final third that's cost them in close games. So far, it's gone the other way today. It's the U.S. who can't find that telling pass, that final ball, that final finish. They still have time. Adams, Miles Robinson, and Weston McKennie. Pulisic. McKennie flicked along. It went past right, stabbed out, and an American corner. Jamaica has defended these set pieces very well. Another to contend with here. Toward the back post, flicked away again. It'll be a throw. Sean Bernard's been immense for Jamaica in that back three tonight. McKennie started to make the run down the right. Adams didn't spot him. Now acknowledges him as it comes to Reyna on the near side. Reyna trying to twist away from Dexter Lembakisa, and Wright tried to exchange with Pepe, but that was cut off. And here comes the sprint from Ronaldo Cephas. Matt Turner out of his area initially. Here's Pulisic now. Pulisic's cross. And chested toward the end line and hammered away. Dexter Lembakisa prevents the corner. See the ball sitting up on this spongy turf. Pinballs around, and Jamaica cleaning up that loose ball, and they win a throw. Here comes a double change for Jamaica. Karai Anderson and Corey Burke, the only two midfielders that they had on the bench today. It's a very light midfield for Jamaica with all the players they have missing. So Heimer Hallgrimsson will use both his bench midfielders now. Ronaldo Cephas comes off.
There are two substitutions by Jamaica in the 24th minute.
Casey Palmer also removed. So Cephas and Palmer off for Anderson and Burke. Corey Anderson plays for Charlton Athletic in England.
Number 16, Anderson.
Corey Burke plays for New York Red Bulls in Major League Soccer. He has experience, 31 caps for Jamaica. This is the time in a semifinal where you lean on that kind of experience to try to manage and see out a game. A game which Jamaica have led since the first minute through Greg Lee. The U.S. has huffed and puffed ever since. Has not been able to blow the door down. Here goes Pulisic. And Pepe tries to return it to Pulisic. It was just a bit heavy. Goal kick, Jamaica. Remember, after this match, we'll have about an hour break, and then it will be Panama-Mexico in the second semifinal. And on Saturday, the two Copa America play-in matches at 4 o'clock Eastern, Canada and Trinidad and Tobago. And at 7:15, the Clásico between Costa Rica and Honduras, those two arch rivals in Central America. Both those games one off, with the winners of each qualifying for Copa America this summer. All 4 of these Nations League semifinalists have already qualified for Copa America by reaching this stage of the tournament. So Jamaica, the U.S., Panama, Mexico, they will all be there no matter what happens today. Last change for the United States. Brendan Aronson comes on. Malik Tillman is off.
There is a substitution by USA.
So Greg Berhalter has played all his cards now. Aronson, another attacking midfielder, has been on loan with Union Berlin in the Bundesliga this year. Had a struggling season, but scored last weekend. Has looked better lately. It's Jamaica, though, who possess in the attacking third right now. Mbakisa toward the top of the 18. Chested down for Johnson, who plays the overlap left side. Greg Lee tried to play it into the middle. That was cut out. And now the whistle goes for a foul. Free kick to the United States. Time starting to work against them. Just 14 minutes left until stoppage time. As things stand, I'm not sure there will be a ton of it. Haven't been too many stoppages in this second half. Here's Aronson's first touch. Reyna. Lots of space for McKennie now. McKennie toward the middle. Flicked along by Aronson. On target, I think, but simple for Andre Blake, who still really hasn't had any spectacular saves to make today. He's had a few straightforward ones. Nothing where he's had to showcase his terrific shot-stopping ability. The American fans still making noise, trying to help their team rally late. Jamaica possessed, though. Spins out by the corner flag. Came off Adams last. This is going to be a corner for Jamaica. And obviously they're not in a hurry to take it. Jamaica have led since the first minute. Could they double their lead? In-swinging ball, whipped back post, overshoots everyone. Kept in, and a throw for Jamaica. That suits them just fine. Remember, Jamaica launched these throws toward the end line multiple times in the first half. They do it again here. The U.S. continues to have trouble defending those throws. They have a free kick, though. Credit Heimer Hall Grimson and his staff. They clearly spotted something watching the U.S. on film and decided to pick on it. It's how they scored their goal in the opening minute. It's caused problems several times since as well. Game plan has been perfect for Jamaica, and it's been executed thus far. Here's McKennie, though. McKennie's cross, touched away by Blake, only as far as Robinson. Lifts it back toward Reyna, chested down, still loose, and it just won't fall for the U.S. Richards had to deal with that and did. Adams still the United States knock. They will need some answers soon. Around the corner for Aronson. Anthony Robinson shouts for handball. Aronson didn't really chase that with any conviction. He was busy asking for a whistle, and now it will be a whistle for Jamaica. Sure, if Brendan Aronson would have gotten to that loose ball if he hadn't been appealing for handball instead. He may not have. Now, Christian Pulisic holding that right arm. That's not a good sign for the U.S. either. This was this moment in the box a moment ago. He went down heavily. Yeah, comes down fully on that right arm and shoulder. into the final 10 minutes of the 90. Jamaica continues to hold a lead. They have held ever since the opening 30 seconds. Turner's long throw for McKennie. When Jamaica scored that early goal, from the U.S. perspective, they still had so much time. There was no reason to panic yet. It is starting to reach that stage now if you're an American fan. Time is growing short, and Jamaica continue to nurse this lead. Excellent harassing by Corey Burke, and he's won this for Jamaica. He can kill some time down by the corner at a minimum. Tried the fancy back heel. It's still okay for Jamaica. They can try to pin the U.S. deep in their half. McKennie gets the United States out. The U.S. will play another game in these finals, but as it stands, it would be the third place game on Sunday and not the final. That is not what they came here for. Pulisic. U.S. just unable to solve those angles. What a switch of play by Karoy Anderson. He left an American on his rear end. Big ooze from the fans. Forward by Adams. Aiming for Pulisic. Cut out by Jamaica. Daniel Johnson tried to settle things. Could not. Will be a throw for the U.S. by the halfway line. They take it quickly. Pulisic. Reyna into the box. Gio Reyna. McKennie now. Switches it for Aronson. U.S. has gotten a bit static again. Anthony Robinson. Overlap. Aronson. Put out. Corner for the United States. More great defending. Bobby Reed. He had the assist on the goal in the first minute. Continues to do everything at either end of the pitch. 7 minutes of the 90 remaining. The corner. Easily headed clear. See the possession. Doesn't really matter though. The U.S. looking short of ideas in these final minutes. Pulisic. Robinson. First touch from Aronson, not the best. Aronson trying not to commit the foul. Sliced out of play. That'll do for Jamaica. The referee telling Anthony Robinson to move back for this throw. Greg Berhalter has made all his substitutions. All he can do is watch now. He cannot have loved what he's seen so far. This would be a memorable win for Jamaica if they could see it out. The U.S. has to be careful here, but they are able to play it square and work their way forward. McKennie hugging that touchline. Pulisic. Adams. Wants a square passing. Needs some incision. That's not going to do it. Pulled back for Chris Richards. Aronson left that a little bit short, but it will be another corner. Dexter Lembikisa again in the way. 5 minutes plus stoppage time left. Terrific defending from Jamaica. It's been a clinic from them so far. Tension for the American fans. Corner again thumped away. 6 deliveries from set pieces. Not at his best today. He'll try again here. And allowed to run. Boy, that was gutsy. I think Andre Blake shouted to Michael Hector. The way Hector reacted suggested that he didn't mean to let that go. But Andre Blake was right there one way or the other. Decent ball in, but there's nobody attacking it in blue and red. I have to say, even though the U.S. has had 3/4 of the possession in this game, for the most part, it's been relatively comfortable for Jamaica. He might disagree. Heimer Hallgrimsson, I'm sure he's sweated every kick, as every coach does. For all their possession, the U.S. has hardly carved Jamaica apart. Seconds continue to tick away. Pepe, sloppy takedown. Works out though for the U.S. Reyna dropping deep. It's not really where they want him picking up the ball. Pulisic. Reyna. Adams. Anthony Robinson. Robinson somehow wins it back. Pulisic. Aronson. Curls it back post, but again, a gold shirt is in the way. Another corner for the U.S. Into the very late stages now. Pulisic. Again, a strong defensive header away. Pepe wide. Greg Berhalter still hoping for a late turnaround. There haven't been too many signs of it coming for the U.S. over the last 20 minutes or so. They started the second half much better, but the Jamaican fans have to be so proud of their team. No matter how it ends tonight, of course, when you have a lead with 2 minutes plus stoppage time left, you won't ultimately be happy unless you get across the line. U.S. have to get out of their own end first. Pepe not going to get to this. Instead, Greg Lee does, and he was able to pop it over the top for Corey Burke. All into the middle. Nice work by Pepe, but he's hustled off it, and Jamaica have it again. Free kick for the U.S. in the final minute of the 90. How much stoppage time will there be in this game? We've not had a ton of stoppages in this second half, so you wouldn't think it would be a ton. We've had the full complement of substitutions, of course. It does take some time. Not many injuries, though. Lobbed over the top. Foot race for this. The U.S. get there. It's Aronson. Aronson. Back post. Again flicked away. There will be an additional 4 minutes to be played at the end of the 90. Back from Adams. Turner has to come out a bit hesitantly, but does. And we head towards stoppage time. Wide it goes for Pulisic. And Pulisic into the middle, and Pepe couldn't get a hold of it, and Blake had it fall kindly right to him. Great ball in from Pulisic that time, and Pepe just couldn't make a clean connection with it. He's a little bit behind him. His half volley on target, but again, pretty simple for Andre Blake. Pulisic. It's gotten to the stage where it just about has to happen just about now for the United States. Jamaica can smell it. They are so close to the final. McKennie. On by Pepe, but nobody there in blue and red. And it can run across the end line, shielded out by Bobby Reed. Goal kick Jamaica. As he bangs the badge on his chest. Jamaica do have another change to make, and they will make it. They will send Tavon Gray onto the pitch. He plays for New York City FC in MLS.
Your attention, please. There is a substitution by Jamaica in the 90th minute. Leaving the field is number 10, Bobby Reed.
Bobby Reed.
Entering the field, play number 4.
He's had such a shift for Jamaica today. Assisted the goal back in the first minute. Now comes off in stoppage time. Being told that there are 5 minutes that were actually shown instead of the initially indicated 4, so we are into stoppage time. They have loved what they've seen from their team so far. Hoping their team can get across the line. Ball against Jamaica. Free kick United States. Hall Grimson can smell it. Doesn't look happy now. He'll be thrilled if they can hold out. What a job he and his coaching staff have done setting up their team. So short-handed today. So many players missing. They're on the verge of a famous upset. Pulisic. Free kick for the United States as Pulisic was hacked down. Low is on a yellow card. Pulisic unhappy about the challenge. We must need to get on with this. Reyna serves it to the top of the box. Again, Jamaica are in the right place. Their positioning has been immaculate in this game. You could say that the U.S. haven't done enough in the attacking third, but Jamaica have been brilliant. McKennie down for Reyna. First touch for Adams. Reyna again. Serves it over the top. Again, Jamaica win the first ball in their own box. All the way back to Matt Turner. Turner goes long. Scuffed out for a late U.S. throw. U.S. screaming for McKennie to hurry up and take it. Adams serves it backside. Heads go up. Rolling agonizingly toward that touch line. Kept in play by Reyna. Reyna chops it toward the 18. Reyna stands it up. Again, the U.S. can't get to that first ball. Jamaica continue to win everything in their own box. Tavon Gray wiped out. Was across the line. It's a throw. Very late in stoppage time. Have Jamaica done enough? In by Adams. Blake rises. He's got it. Was that the United States' last chance? They think so. They're ready to party. Down by Pepe. It's got to be now or never for the U.S. Between the lines, Haji Wright. His ball across, sliced out. One more late corner for the United States. The delivery has to be good from Pulisic. Matt Turner is up for the U.S. It's a cross. It's in! The United States have leveled with the final kick of regulation. Breakthrough for the red, white, and blue. They've trailed since the first minute. It's 1-1 now in the semifinal, and we're headed for extra time. And it looks like an own goal. It came off Miles Robinson first. Let's see it again. Robinson first, and then I think it skimmed off Deshaun Bernard. And that's so cruel for Jamaica. No, it's actually Corey Burke that it comes off. 9 instead of 6. Well, the U.S. looked dead. They have life now. We will probably have an additional 30 minutes as well. There's the final whistle of regulation. It's not the final whistle of this first semifinal. Extra time to come, thanks to a stoppage time own goal. And the United States with new life at the death. Heartbreak for Jamaica, who were so close and had defended so well for nearly 95 minutes. And now it's a big task for Heimer Hallgrimsson to try to rally his side for extra time. Smiles finally for the fans in red, white, and blue. So just a short break before the beginning of this first period of extra time. And this is where it gets tough for Jamaica because, again, they have a short bench today, missing so many players. We talked about that a lot over the 90 minutes plus. They were so close to getting it done with that short-handed team and short-handed bench. And now they have another 30 minutes to navigate. And from Jamaica's standpoint, I'm sure that their focus will be on trying to get to penalties now. They would bite your hand off for the chance to take this to penalties at this point, because they have Andre Blake in goal, of course, who's an excellent shot stopper. So the onus is still on the U.S., even though they've gotten themselves level and they're thrilled to still be in this. Matt Turner, very capable penalty stopper as well, but they will feel they really need to win this in the next 30 minutes. They have such a great chance to do so now with the momentum, with the fresher legs. For Jamaica, as heroically as they played and defended for the first 90 minutes, they're going to have to continue that spirit and that defending for the next 30, you suspect. They've shown how capable they are of it. The question is, can they keep it up? But you feel for Jamaica and their fans. Again, they'll be extremely proud of their side no matter what happens over the rest of this game. Almost every pundit that you listen to in the build-up to this game this week is predicting 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 United States. Nobody gave Jamaica a chance with the number of key players they had missing today. They came out and stunned the U.S. in the opening 30 seconds with that goal from Greg Lee. And they almost held out for the rest of the 90 with that goal and that lead. Credit Miles Robinson for winning that initial header from that corner. That was something that we mentioned the U.S. was struggling so badly to do for most of the day. Win that initial ball in the attacking box. Jamaica had mopped up cross after cross, set piece after set piece. But for once, at the last, the United States won an attacking header, and it resulted in that own goal and the equalizer. Greg Berhalter and BJ Callahan relieved, I'm sure, but still have to plot a route forward for a United States side that have looked well short of their best today. Still have every chance now to reach the final. They have kept their quest for a Nations League three-peat alive, just barely. Well, Jamaica huddling before we kick off extra time. Christian Pulisic, I think, still talking about that challenge by Damian Lowe at the beginning of stoppage time that I think he thought should have resulted in Lowe's second yellow. Of course, he and Andre Blake have to come over for the pre-extra time conference with referee Selvin Brown. Well, again, Heimer Hallgrimsson did so well to set his team up for this game. Got so much out of them with so much missing. He can only look on now as his team continues to fight in extra time. I suspect Andre Blake might have to make a couple more key saves in extra time if Jamaica are to come through this semifinal still. Back underway in extra time. Again, we will have up to 2 periods, 2 15-minute extra time periods. If we're still level after that, it goes to penalties. All for a spot in Sunday's Nations League final. Still another semifinal between Panama and Mexico to come later tonight. Now the U.S., after finding that late goal, will they start to look a bit more fluid now? Not there. Jamaica trying to hit them over the top. And yelling for a foul there, the U.S. I believe it will just be a throw. Miles Robinson thought he was bumped illegally by Corey Burke. It was Corey Burke who was charged with the own goal. 90+6. After Greg Lee scored in the first minute for Jamaica. Pepe trying to play in Haji right. It was in lots of space right down the spine. And then the foul committed by Tyler Adams. Not the best use of the free kick by Jamaica. Well, the U.S. again can be a bit more patient than they were over the last 15 minutes or so of the second half. But they still do need some urgency. Said at the start of the second half, I thought a U.S. equalizer still wouldn't change Jamaica's approach much. Here's Aronson right down the middle trying to play in Pepe. Just ran under his feet. Couldn't get himself turned around in time, Ricardo Pepe. Oh, a back pass that puts Jamaica under some pressure, but it was handled well. Joel Ladaboder. So Jamaica officially credited with both the goals that have been scored today. One in favor of them and one against. One at the beginning, one at the end of normal time. Get that ball bobbling a bit. U.S. struggling to get those smooth first touches. It's part of what's held their attack back in this game. The rest of it has been Jamaica's excellent defending. Pulisic trying to find those pockets. See, the U.S. trying to split this Jamaican defense more centrally in the early stages of extra time. That looks to be what Greg Berhalter and B.J. Callahan had to say to their team during that huddle after the end of normal time. Instead of constantly playing it wide and trying to serve crosses into the box that Jamaica have mostly mopped up today. To test Jamaica right down the middle. This time they switch it out wide though, and it's McKennie. Flag has stayed down. McKennie chopped it into the middle, but couldn't get it past the first man. And then the square ball was cut out, and Jamaica might be able to break. Just one man forward in gold and green. Looking for the free kick. Never going to get it. Miles Robinson motioned to get up. We play on. Tyler Adams. Now this is interesting because Adams came on at about the 60th minute. More in a moment. Here's Pulisic. Oh, he almost had Aronson down the middle. Again, the U.S. trying to play more centrally. And Pulisic and Aronson inches away from connecting. Free kick for Jamaica. But Tyler Adams, he came on at about the 60th minute, remember. Now, we were told, because remember, he's hardly played over the last year. He's been coming back from a knee injury. Got on with Bournemouth in their last game for a few minutes. We were told he was available for up to 45 minutes at a time. Well, you can do the math. This game will go all the way to 120 minutes plus stoppage time. That would be more than 45 for Tyler Adams. So you wonder if he'll have to pace himself here, though I'm sure he doesn't want to. He's not exactly match fit. How could he be? Pulisic, neat takedown. Got it stuck under his feet. Reina tries to take over and does, and looks to slip in Haji Wright. It's Haji Wright, and Haji Wright gives the United States the lead. They gain new life at the death in normal time. They're in front in extra time. Haji Wright scored for Coventry City in the FA Cup last weekend. He scored for his country here. 2-1 to the U.S. And it came from that central ball that they've been testing for the first 6 minutes of extra time. Reina slipping in right. Great touch to take himself to the left, away from the defender, and finishing with the left foot. The United States finally picking apart the Jamaica defense. And Haji Wright finding the finish. And the U.S. finding their first lead of this semifinal. Classy ball from Gio Reyna. That's why he's on the pitch. That's what he's capable of for the U.S. Whether he's playing for his club or not, he can always do that when the United States needs something, and he just did. Now after Jamaica, we're seconds away from the final. It's the United States, who are 23 minutes plus stoppage time away. Still quite a bit of time to navigate. And for the first time today, Heimer Hallgrimsson and Jamaica have to find a way to score. They did so just 30 seconds in. It looked like they wouldn't need another. Now they do. So they throw bodies forward all of a sudden. That cross much too deep, and a free kick given anyway against Jamaica. Now it's the United States who aren't exactly in a hurry over set pieces. Haji Wright has had such a terrific season in England's second tier. Coventry City still in the hunt for a playoff place as they chase promotion. They qualified for the FA Cup semi-final. They upset Wolverhampton Wanderers last weekend, scoring twice in stoppage time after they trailed 2-1. So for Haji Wright, this is his second stoppage time comeback in 4 days. United States, with that extra change in extra time, are about to send Johnny Cardoso onto the pitch. And he will replace Tyler Adams. So, we told you, Adams not able to play more than 45 minutes at once. It's right about at that. And so he goes off. He's not happy about it. You see Greg Berhalter saying, hey man, we can't have you getting injured again. We need you. Your club needs you. Your career needs you. Adams is still just 22, by the way. He was the youngest captain at the World Cup for any country involved 2 years ago. The U.S. would love another goal to make this lead more secure. Out wide it goes, into the middle. Cleared by Deshaun Bernard. 100 minutes played, 20 left. Adams still not happy. It's the United States who are just fine with the ball running out for a throw. First touch for Johnny Cardoso, who's had a great season for Real Betis in La Liga in Spain. Reyna able to probe forward. Gio Reyna blazes over. It opened up for him. Closed down just enough as he released that shot by Tavon Gray. Now, Jamaica will use their additional substitution window more changes as well. So Corey Burke is coming off. Kaheem Dixon, one of their remaining forwards, is on. Also, Romario Williams is on for Jamaica. Free kick for Jamaica. Served into the box. The top of the area, flicked further away. Three minutes of this initial period of extra time remaining. Have the brief break between the two, and another 15 after that. So there's certainly still time for Jamaica to get themselves level again. It's always so difficult, though, when you've been mostly defending throughout the match, trying to nurse a lead when you scored so early, then switch gears, and you see the pain on the face for Corey Burke. unlucky on that own goal. Don't really know what else he could have done. Here come the U.S. Space for Aronson down the left. Aronson into the middle for Pepe. Up into the air from Blake, and he claims it himself. Smoothly done by Johnny Cardoso. See McKennie dropping deeper now, acting as more of a defender. The United States leading in extra time. Their place in the final on Sunday was starting to look unlikely as those minutes of second half stoppage time ticked away. With their final opportunity, they equalized. And Haji Wright scoring in the 96th. Some adventures there for Matt Turner. Playing out of the back, not always his strongest suit. That's a classy touch from Pulisic, though, and Reyna. And there's lots of space for McKennie now. Pulisic presents himself. Pulisic to the end line and out for a U.S. corner. Michael Hector has to be fatigued playing this whole game at the center of that back line. Played so well. After the efforts of he and his teammates looked like they would be enough for most of this game. Now it's looking like they might not be. Final minute of the first half of stoppage time. Pulisic's delivery. And it's knotted wide, and it should have been the third goal. Eyes to the sky for Miles Robinson. Scored a big goal in the Gold Cup final for the U.S. a couple of years ago against Mexico. Couldn't redirect that on frame. He will want that back. We've had the 15 minutes of extra time, and we will have no more stoppage time. That's the end of the first half of extra time. 15 minutes remaining. Now it's the United States who are 15 away from the final. Haji Wright in the 97th minute, giving them their first lead of the night. And the Jamaican fans were ready to party. See their team up against it now. Still time, certainly not over yet. Jamaica again have to find a way to rally themselves for a final push. Heimer Hall-Grimson trying to do exactly that. Interesting spot for Greg Berhalter and the United States coaching staff now in their tactical approach to this final 15. Now they're the ones that don't want to drop too deep, don't want to invite too much pressure. Love to score that third goal and kill off the game if they could. Have to make sure they get their tactics right. Panama, Mexico still to come tonight. Figures to be a great battle as well. Panama really, really believing they can upset Mexico this time after they come very close in their last few meetings. The United States well supported as always. They did not have much to cheer for until that final moment of normal time. Jamaica fans still representing. Heimer Hall-Grimson called in his press conference a few days ago for the Jamaican diaspora to come out and support their team here in Dallas. They certainly have. And again, they have a lot to be proud of today, regardless of the outcome. With how close they were, they did not want to be in the position of just being proud of a losing effort. They still might not be. They still have time to pull this back. Still have time to equalize and maybe force penalties where they would like their chances with Andre Blake in net. Veteran member of this team, Andre Blake, 70 caps, been through it all. suspect telling his team just that. Look, you just need one moment, one goal. Changes this whole picture again for us. Still waiting a moment for this second half of extra time kickoff. Remember on Saturday, the two Copa America play-in matches. Matt Turner asking, what's the holdup? On Saturday, those two Copa America play-in matches, Canada, Trinidad and Tobago, then Honduras and Costa Rica. Then the third place match and the final this Nations League competition on Sunday. Here go Jamaica, straight from the kickoff. It's Kaheem Dixon, and he scuffs his shot. And I think the flag went up anyhow. Kaheem Dixon, who plays in the Jamaican League. Small but speedy. Didn't get a hold of that at all. That's the threat he could pose for these final 15 minutes. A warning for the U.S. that they are certainly not across the line yet. They haven't learned not to underestimate Jamaica by now. I'm not sure what other warnings they would need. Turner out of his area does well. And it's rarely been easy for the U.S. against Jamaica in recent years, though they've won most of their encounters since Jamaica upset them in the Gold Cup semifinal in 2015. That's turned over. The U.S. content to slow it down for a moment. Now Anthony Robinson. Pulisic trying to pull the string. Cut out though. Now the U.S. has to hustle back. Tavon Gray. Karoy Anderson. Just 19 years old, by the way. Romario Williams. And with all the absences, this is a much younger, much more inexperienced Jamaican side today. You wouldn't have known it for 95 minutes. They'll clean up the second ball here. Into the box it goes. Might be a chance, but it runs away. It will be out for a corner. Romario Williams was after it, off the U.S. defender last. Set piece for Jamaica. You see the emotions for Heimer Hallgrimsson. Defending for the U.S. to do. Jamaica always dangerous from set pieces. Outswinger driven, back post. They got to it first, but couldn't direct it on target. Where they had what they wanted there, Jamaica. It was a well-driven ball, and they had three runners overloading at that back stick. The U.S. was struggling. That's what's so tough about set pieces, though. Sometimes you get everything right, but you just don't execute in the end. Jamaica still have time. Turner under pressure, gives it away in the middle of the park. Jamaica starting to sense a little bit, perhaps, of momentum again, but they turn it over themselves. And Pepe can chop it forward, but doesn't connect with Pulisic, who is frustrated. And then offers Pepe a hand clap after showing his frustration. Well, that went out of play. It's not what Jamaica want to be doing. Throw in for the United States. Brendan Aronson. One back by Reyna. Reyna slips in Haji Wright. And Wright scores! And the United States are headed back to another Nations League final. He hardly celebrated, but he scored twice in extra time. And the United States are 11 minutes away from defeating Jamaica after struggling so much for 95 minutes tonight. He's made the difference again. Gio Reyna involved again. It does appear to be onside. He got it stuck under his feet, but what a spin, what a turn, what a recovery, and a great finish. By the way, he didn't celebrate. I wondered if the flag had gone up. But Haji Wright, businesslike, cool. And the United States have daylight now. Free kick for the U.S. with 10 minutes remaining. Heimer Hallgrimsson knows it's just about game up now. Barring a late miraculous comeback, Jamaica will play in the third place match on Sunday. We'll play the non-winner of the second semifinal. It's coming up directly after this one between Panama and Mexico. Here comes Jamaica. Opportunity here, and it's sliced wide. Boy, Romario Williams feels he should have done better. Couldn't quite get his angles right after it fell to him. A pretty inviting spot at the top of the box. Trying to pick out that top left corner, I think. Matt Turner wiping out as he takes the goal kick. United States burst forward here with Pulisic. Chopped away from him by Deshaun Bernard, whose excellent game shouldn't be lost in the final scoreline tonight. Deshaun Bernard's been outstanding. Plays for Sheffield Wednesday in England's second tier. All the way back to Matt Turner. Haji Wright's on a hat trick now. Content to take it out wide. And then Pulisic. Not too many options in the box. Does the smart thing. Anthony Robinson. Aronson tackled off the ball. It's a bit aimless. Jamaica could still, as they'll have a free kick here, could still set up an uncomfortable finish for the U.S. if they could find a goal in the next couple minutes. They have not scored since the opening minute tonight. Greg Lee did so just over 30 seconds in. For the longest time, it appeared that would be it tonight, and that would be enough to send Jamaica to the final. As they have done so many times in this competition, though, and in the Gold Cup over the years, the United States rallying back. We've seen Mexico do it a ton of times as well, as recently as the quarterfinal of this competition, where Mexico trailed Honduras 2-0 after the first leg in the quarterfinal. And they had to score a 12th minute of second half stoppage time equalizer at the Azteca to level that game. Second leg tie, which eventually went to penalties, and Mexico prevailed to get to this semifinal later tonight. Both the U.S. and Mexico often tested at these stages of Concacaf competitions. So often they find a way to get through. Their quality usually tells in the end. Lada Boder. Lembekisa. Aronson said ours. linesman said otherwise. That's really neat feet from Kaheem Dixon. Ushered off the ball. And Reina was calm. Well, if you've told this U.S. team that they would have to play extra time to get through this semifinal before the match, they wouldn't have been too pleased. Of course, you would ideally like to get through a semifinal in 90 minutes when you have to play again just a few days later. But if you offered them extra time in the 96th minute when they were lining up for that final corner of normal time, they of course would have gladly accepted it. They'll be just fine with it now. It will be interesting to see how they recover for Sunday, assuming they get through these final 5 minutes. Pulisic. Going to slide in Haji Wright for his third. Free kick for Jamaica. Anthony Robinson staying down. Damian Lowe to help him out. It's always the team that's trailing that is eager to help the other with their cramp. Again, Jamaica were excellent at playing the game for 95 minutes. And that's not a slight. It was exactly the game they needed to play. They were brilliant at it. Just needed to defend one more corner. Still a very strong showing by them, and they can still have a very successful tournament if they can win that third place match on Sunday. Again, they're already qualified for Copa America this summer, which is a huge thing for this program. So Jamaica continuing to improve and advance, making big strides, recruiting big name dual nationals, showing their potential as a soccer nation. You expect them to continue their upward trajectory under Heimer Hallgrimsson. They will be disappointed tonight, of course, and that's understandable. Nothing to be ashamed of. Aronson. Cardoso. That's the kind of coolness on the ball that Johnny Cardoso brings. In a tight space, he's able to keep it, win a throw. Jamaica looking leggy now. See and hear as this goes down the middle. Romario Williams, just too many blue and red shirts in the way. You can see and hear Mexico fans filing in, ready for this second semifinal in just a little while. This will be quite an atmosphere for Mexico-Panama, or Panama-Mexico, depending on your affiliation. Jamaica still looking for a goal back. Aronson forward, and there's lots of room for Ricardo Pepi. He has Wright up with him. Here is Haji Wright, the back heel. Pulisic, what a save. Andre Blake, that's his best save of the night. Christian Pulisic has run his socks off today. Neat flick by Haji Wright, unselfish too, since he was on a hat trick. Pulisic, when you see that replay from behind the opposing goal, hit it well, but didn't quite direct it the way he would have liked. Central enough that Andre Blake was able to throw up that left hand and touch it over. Into the final minute of second half, or the second half of extra time. The U.S. play the corner short. United States playing out the remaining seconds now. Collision there between Aronson and a Jamaican player. That was Bernard. And that should just about be that. Greg Berhalter not happy with that late challenge. Greg Berhalter high-fiving his coaching staff. They certainly had to sweat through this. There's the final whistle, and it took a late resurrection, but the United States keep their dream of 3 in a row very much alive. They are back in the Nations League final. A goal in the final moment of normal time, then 2 goals in extra time, both from Haji Wright after the own goal from Burke, 90+6. Greg Lee had given Jamaica the lead in the very first minute. Jamaica were valiant, but not quite enough in the end. And the United States will play in the final on Sunday against either Panama or Mexico. I'm Donnie Barnes. It's been a pleasure bringing you this one. Stay tuned in just over an hour's time for the second of our semifinals today. It will be Panama and Mexico for the other spot in Sunday's final. Until then, from AT&T Stadium, it finishes in the first semi in the Concacaf Nations League 2024 today. The United States 3, Jamaica 1.